Welcome to this recap video of the disaster movie Geostorm. Directed by Dean Devlin and starring Gerard Butler, Geostorm is a thrilling science fiction film that follows the events of a global weather control system gone rogue. In this video, we will recap the key events and characters of the movie and provide you with some interesting trivia. So buckle up and get ready to experience the chaos of Geostorm. But before going ahead, I request you to subscribe to the channel for amazing movie recaps like this. The year 2019 is depicted in the film, as is the world's worst condition. As a result of climate change, there have been numerous natural disasters. The temperature is high in some countries that 2 to 3 million people died as a result of the heat. As a result of the tsunamis in other countries, many people are flowing. Other places are dry and deserted, the people are dying without water. Aside from that, there is flooding in many areas. 27 countries are moving forward to find the solution of these problems. They form a group and send their smart scientists. Jake Lawson was appointed as the scientist leader. He was an intelligent engineer who was responsible for building a network of satellites that could control the weather. This network was called Dutch Boy, and it was created to prevent natural disasters from happening. Jake was the mastermind behind Dutch Boy and was hailed as a hero for his work. Overhead command of the Dutch Boy is given to the US. Following the Dutch Boys' first success at neutralizing a massive hurricane over Shanghai, Jake Lawson, Dutch Boys' chief architect, is scolded by Virginia Senator Thomas Cross for activating Dutch Boy without prior approval and is subsequently replaced by his brother Max, who works under Secretary of State Leonard Deckham. 3 years later, a United Nations field team stationed in Afghanistan comes across a village that has been frozen along with its inhabitants. US President Andrew Palmer calls an emergency meeting of this cabinet where the blame is placed on a malfunction in Afghanistan's weather satellite. When Max demands for a proper investigation, Palmer consents to sending one person to the International Climate Space Station ICSS, prompting Deckham to suggest that Max should send Jake. Back up on the ICSS, a satellite engineer suspecting foul play secretly and preemptively copies the log data from the Afghanistan satellite and stores it in a locker, but dies when he is suddenly ejected into space in an apparent accident. Max approaches Jake at his house in Cocoa Beach, Florida, where he has lived for the past 3 years, to persuade him to return to the station and investigate the cause behind the disaster in Afghanistan. Meanwhile, a sudden temperature spike in Hong Kong results in gas lines bursting, destroying parts of the city in a massive firestorm and nearly killing Chang, Max's college friend and the Dutch Boy program's Hong Kong bureau chief. Upon arriving at ICSS, Jake is introduced to UT Fassbinder, the current commander of the space station, along with her crew. When the crew tries to investigate Hong Kong's satellite, the robotic arm holding the satellite malfunctions, causing the satellite to be broken beyond repair and all of its data is lost. Another satellite goes haywire and Tokyo is struck with a massive hailstorm. Back in Hong Kong, Chang, suspecting the satellites, contacts Max after finding that he has suddenly lost login access to the satellite. He also tells Max that if the malfunction continues, the world will suffer from geostorm, an unstoppable chain reaction of extreme weather patterns globally and simultaneously. Max realizes that he also can't access the satellite. He enlists Dana, a Department of Defense hacker who works in cybersecurity, and discovers that his access has been deliberately locked out. Meanwhile, Chang's office is raided by armed mercenaries. Chang successfully hides from them and flies to the States to tell Max what he has uncovered. In another attempt to find the cause of the malfunction, Jake and UT fly outside the ICSS to retrieve a hard drive which had been ejected along with the satellite engineer. However, Jake's suit malfunctions, causing his boosters to go out of control and nearly gets himself out of reach of the ISSS. After being rescued, Jake reveals to Yuri that he has retrieved the hard drive but has kept it secret from the crew, suspecting a traitor among them. Jake and UT attempt to find the source of the error but are blocked by someone. Jake concludes that someone within the White House is responsible. Jake tells Max about his findings in an encrypted message. In the meantime, the ICSS staff attempt to neutralize malfunctioning satellites by deliberately knocking them offline via collisions with replacement satellites. Meanwhile, Chang nearly meets up with Max but is killed when an assailant kicks him onto the street and he gets hit by a car, but not before he tells Max about Project Zeus. Max and Dana find out that Project Zeus is a program meant for simulating extreme weather patterns in an effort to create the biggest geostorm. Jake and Yudi, with the help of fellow crew member Doucette, recovers the copied log data from the late engineer and discovers that the satellite has been infected with a virus, systematically wiping out everyone's login access to that satellite. Jake believes that the president is behind the attack and is using the Dutch boy as a weapon. He tells Max that in order to flush out the virus, he needs to reboot the system entirely, and that requires the kill code held by the president. Max asks Sarah, his girlfriend and a Secret Service agent, to help him to acquire the kill code. During the Democratic National Convention in Orlando, Max finds out that with the recent severe temperature plunge in Rio de Janeiro, Orlando is next in line for a superstorm. He requests DECOM to help secure the kill code from the president, but DECOM instead tries to kill Max, unveiling himself as the mastermind behind the malfunctions. Max escapes and immediately informs Sarah. He and Sarah kidnap President Palma to protect him from other service members, potentially with DECOM, and secure the kill code. They manage to save Palma and escape from the stadium before a massive thunderstorm blows it up. After outsmarting DECOM's mercenaries, Max and Sarah confront him about his intentions with the Dutch boy as he's arrested. To wipe out all of America's enemies and take out the line of succession ahead of him so he could become the next president of a world dominated solely by the US. The virus affects the entire ICSS, losing control of all operations, and the self-destruct mechanism is suddenly activated. A tsunami strikes Dubai, a heat wave strikes Moscow, and multiple tornadoes strike Mumbai. Jake realizes that Duncan, an ICSS software engineer, is the inside man who created the virus and the one who's initiated the self-destruct program. Jake confronts Duncan, and in the ensuing scuffle, Duncan accidentally ejects himself into space while Jake escapes. As the crew evacuates, Jake decides to stay behind in order to ensure that the reboot is complete. Max and Sarah manage to escort the president to the Kennedy Space Center, where it is revealed that while the geostorm can be stopped, the kill code cannot stop the self-destruct process. UT decides to also stay behind in order to help Jake and manages to reboot the system and transfer satellite control to NASA, preventing the geostorm. They manage to take shelter in a replacement weather satellite just as the self-destruction completes and manage to signal for a nearby NASA shuttle to pick them up. 6 months later, Jake has reclaimed his job as the head engineer for the new Dutch boy, with the overhead control of Dutch boy given to an international committee. The movie ends with the note that no one can change the past, but people can embrace the future as a rocket flies into the distance to the stars above. Thank you for watching this recap video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie recaps like this.